How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Whereabouts in the world are you at the moment? That's looking very hotelish.
Yes, I am in North Carolina. I'm actually about 10 minutes from where I grew up and spent the first half of my life.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Carolina, I feel like that'd be. Look, I'm an Australian who only really knows America from TV, but Carolina sounds like a fairly conservative part of the world. Is that what was it like growing up there?
It's like the TV show Andy Griffith. That's what we're known for. That's my area. That's the Dukes of Hazzard, Andy Griffith. That's my territory. So
Yeah.
that And that's what I grew up like. Dukes of Hazzard was the number one TV show when I was growing up, and Andy Griffith was still number one, even though it was 20 years old, 30 years old, whatever.
Oh, wow. What was what did you do for Halloween recently?
I played a show. I got to
Hmm.
be myself again, which is what I've pretty much been for the last 20 some years. I get to be myself every Halloween. That's my day. If I don't play Halloween, it's usually by my choice, just taking a break. But for the most part, I'm 90% playing concerts.
Nice. What I was looking at some old interview footage of Joey, um, in the doing my homework on the back of this interview. What are your best memories of Joey? Thinking back on it.
Lots. I mean, too many. Just I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many. I mean, best memories. I mean, he gave me the opportunity to do what I dreamed about doing. I was wanting to be in a rock band touring the world, and he gave me that opportunity. So my memories of doing that the first time, he was the pilot. I was the co-pilot. He was taking me and showing me around the world and showing me how it's done. And he was, very passionate about music, and I learned everything I pretty much know from him. And everyone I met through him for the most part. And just he's been the centerpiece of my success and my introduction into this rock and roll music world.
Yeah. Let's go back to 2002 when Beyond the Valley of the Murder Dolls came out. What was you've talked already a little bit about it, but what was life like for you back then? Because I imagine things would have gone very fast, very quickly.
It did. 2002, I was working a day job, but I was still, doing my band and focusing on that doing shows on the weekends and trying to venture out of the state, doing stuff on, sometimes, but never like a full touring thing. And I was married. I had a 3-year-old daughter, and uh, and I got this opportunity, and I took it. And within 6, 7 months of that happening, I was my whole life changed. It was just like you said, it happened. It happened fast.
Ah, right. Yeah, I remember seeing my introduction to you guys was seeing you performing on the big day out. And I remember the one of you had a guitar that was covered in smashed mirror pieces, and I remember the riff to Twist My Sister being
Mm-hmm.
like in my head for days. It was absolutely fucking awesome. What was the big day out? Because that was your first tour of Australia, wasn't it?
Believe, yeah, that was the first tour. It was great. I mean, it was the first kind of uh, big festival thing we had done prior to doing the Iron Maiden tour after that in Europe. That was sort of the first time, and we didn't know the territory. It was crazy. We were there, and like this, it was summertime, and I think it was wintertime back home, and so it was just a culture kind of shock for me. But as far as the billing of the bands, that tour headliners were was Foo Fighters, and I believe Queens of the Stone Age, Jane's Addiction. Uh, there was a lot of bands on it, but it was more. It felt like more of an alternative kind of festival when you look at the lineup, and then you had Murderdolls. So the great thing about us on that festival is there was no one like us. We were the aliens, we were the weirdos, we were the freaks, and all the weirdos, aliens, and freaks of Australia found us, and we were the support group for them. So we were the little black cloud of that happy festival almost, but not in a gloomy doom way. We were just, we believed what we were preaching. We were sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and that was what we did 24/7.
I can remember seeing footage because I watched the live broadcast, and of course it had all the different bands, and whoever was on before you guys had to deal with trying to play like happy folk music or something with a bunch of really intense looking goths around the front row who are all waiting to see you.
It's always fun to be that, and that seems to be the case on any festival we ever play. Anything I've ever done for Murder Dolls, even to what I do on my own, it's just there's not a lot of bands that do what we do, and you put a band like us on a festival where we usually stand out. So
I feel like the attitude it seems to borrow a lot from Alice Cooper. Like you got when Beyond the Valley of the Murder Dolls came out, like for example, 6 years after an album like Antichrist Superstar came out and became, like I remember Marilyn when I was growing up was public enemy number one. Like parents were just like Alice Cooper, Alice who? Like, no, this guy's a fucking maniac. And I'm like, was it did you guys benefit at all from like the groundwork that someone like Marilyn Manson did in the shock rock thing? When you guys came out, were people very shocked and clutching their pearls, or were they kind of like, oh, at least it's not as bad as this other fella?
uh, I mean, Alice Cooper and Kiss opened the doors for and Ozzy as well. Opened the door for someone like Marilyn Manson, and Marilyn Manson came in and said, "I'm going to do this sicker, dirtier, louder," and he literally captured almost what I imagine what it was like, because I was too young to remember Alice Cooper's impact in the set. I'm born in '76, so his impact with Billion Dollar Babies, and just being that he was literally, Marilyn Manson was like the reflection of that, 20 years later. So that, I mean, what he did, he laid the groundwork. He opened the door for bands like us. And then our first video, Manson's in the first video. So it was him basically going, I approve of these guys. And we had an army of fans. Not only did we have the Slipknot fans curious to see what Joey was doing outside of Slipknot, I was pretty much an unknown artist at that point. So having Slipknot and a Marilyn Manson seal of approval was just opened the door for us. And it was just it was like a roller coaster ride. It was just hold on and see where this goes.
It was an amazing time, wasn't it? Like I can't really fathom someone these days being able to be like, oh, right, here's your debut album. Excellent. We're going on a world tour. Like, what? That just doesn't seem to be how it works. You got to work your way up to that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it showed me how to do it. And, I've never looked back since I got the ball rolling with Murder Dolls. I mean, I've been touring nonstop. The only thing that slowed me down was COVID,
Yeah.
like everybody else. But ever since then, I've kept the train rolling. I'm on my, soon to be 10th record will be the next one we work on. So, Murder Dolls has been, the reason I'm able to do what I do and focus on it and not have to work a day job. This is my day job.
I got to see you just before COVID. COVID knocked the wind out of your sails. You were opening for Static X in
Mhm.
Brisbane in 2019. Remember, you love a good stage prop. You were constantly pulling things out of your goodie bag, and you had some glow in the dark writing written on your torso. What are some of your favorite props and why?
Um, I again being such a Alice Cooper nerd, he's the prop master. So for me, I knew I could never top Alice Cooper with uh with props in his range. So I always resulted for the cheaper or even more funny gag type kind of props. The concert tour you're referring to was we were touring in support of our record Necrophase, and that was just a not necessarily a concept record, but I definitely had a theme to it. I was doing a lot of mask and different masks. It was literally I had mask of my face that I would just change out throughout the show. So I would start off one way and change them and change them and change them. And by the end of the concert, I take them all off, and then you see my real face. So it was kind of doing like a horror movie kind of reveal, and it was a lot of fun. But in the since COVID and coming back out from tour, I really started just reflecting on my catalog because it's been 20 years now, and I just sort of well, at least with this tour, I've done away with the props so much and just made it more about the music and just putting on a energetic show without having mask or something silly or something like that. It's just been the message with this tour and lately has just been the attitude and let the music do the talking.
Nice.
But we
What?
still wear all the makeup. We still look as gorgeous as we ever have. We just
Cool.
I just pull back a little bit on doing the props and stuff. It's fun, but it's just a little. I don't want to get too hokey with it. And if I'm going to do it, I want to do it big and I want to do it right. And I can't do the stuff I want to do in some of the places that we play and some of the. So I just went back to what I think I do best, and that's just putting on an energetic rock show.
Well, look, to piggyback off that, if
Hmm.
money, safety, or sanity weren't issues, if you could get away with doing whatever the hell you wanted, and I could just write you a check for millions of dollars to get it done,
Hmm.
what would you most like to bring to the Wednesday 13th stage show? What's been in the
Oh,
back of your head going, I wish I could just kill the entire audience? I don't know.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of productions and shows. I watch every rock band's productions. Even if I don't even listen to the band, I'll still watch the show. And everyone's coming up with amazing stuff. I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, I think it would be in the world of Alice or Rob Zombie or something like that. Both of those guys have big influences on me, obviously, and their stage shows are, I think, completely different, but in the same world. So I think my world would fall somewhere in between what they do. I wouldn't want to go too crazy on the video stuff because I think that's Rob Zombie's realm and he's made that his thing. And I wouldn't want to go too crazy on the props because it's Alice Cooper's thing. So I think it's what I just do. I fall in the middle. I don't really know how to answer that question because I've never had anyone write me a check and say make a stage show because I would probably make the Millennium Falcon be our stage show and just make it look like you're in outer space with vampires.
Vampires on the Millennium Falcon.
Why
Somewhere
not?
there's a fan art writer, somewhere that's going,
You can't go wrong with the Millennium Falcon and sprinkle some vampires and heavy metal in there. You got it. You got a production.
I imagine horror movies would have been pretty big on your agenda growing up. What were some of your formative experiences when it came to that?
Uh, I my upbringing with horror movies is maybe a little different than a lot of people. Everyone's got their own story how they're introduced to music or movies, and in my case, I was growing up in North Carolina, you know, living with my mom, my dad, my brother and sister, 5 people living in a little 3 bedroom mobile home in North Carolina. I slept on the couch until one of my brothers or sisters moved out and I got a bedroom. So my bedroom was the couch, which is right in front of the television. So I sort of lucked out. So when my parents went to bed, TV stayed on, and we had an illegal cable hookup. So we had all the movies, all the HBO Cinemax, which is what they showed all the movies on, and I just watched everything from Rambo to Creep Show to The Shining to Chuck Norris, all the ninja, anything in the 80s that's the people talk praise of the 80s, that I watched everything, and I watched it at such a young age. I probably shouldn't have, but that literally movies and that was my education on on life. And but horror movies really stood out the most to me. That was my favorite genre of movies outside of comedy. And that's just what I focused on when I started doing music and started writing music. I didn't know what to write about, and I asked someone, I was like, how do you write music? What do you write about? Somebody said, well, what do you know? What do you know about? And I went, I know about horror movies. So I wrote about it, and that just started it. And it just, once I realized I could do that, it just came easy. It was natural. And that's been my story of my music since the beginning.
What was it like? I'm having my kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's awesome to me. I'm finally starting to show my older child some of my favorite movies growing up. And you were mentioning that you had that you have kids. What have been some of the cool reactions? Like what were you most looking forward to showing?
Oh, my kids, showing my kids. I got to watch a lot of stuff with my daughter when she was growing up. We watched. I didn't do what I did as a kid. She wasn't watching all the R-rated stuff. So we started off with the Nightmare Before Christmas kind of stuff, and that was which I love that movie too. So I got to experience my youth again through her, but as she got older and I started going into her room, and I'd find like my movies hidden in her movies, and she's watching. I think the first one she watched that she knew she shouldn't watch was like Bride of Chucky. And if anybody's seen that movie, they know what's in that and stuff. So yeah, I got to experience a lot of cool stuff, but I'm sure just like I did, she was watching stuff that probably wasn't appropriate.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice when certain stuff holds up cross
Yeah.
generationally. I had the pleasure of getting to show a room full of 19 and 20-year-olds the movie Seven
Hmm.
last year. They had absolutely no idea about that movie other than the
Wow.
meme of what's in the box, but they had no idea what the fuck was actually in the box. Getting to sit in the
Yeah.
back of a room and watch a room full of Gen Z watch the finale of that fucking movie is one of the most fun experiences of my life.
Yeah. It's just a great move. If you've never seen that movie at all, it doesn't really matter what age you are. If you have a pulse, it'll make it go.
Mate, what are your plans for the rest of the year? You just going to be touring your ass off, or
Oh, the year's over with.
mm,
I mean, we're already pretty much going into December. This tour goes till December 9th, and I'm going home for Christmas and going to recharge my batteries, and then we'll be in Australia, at the end of first week of February, I believe it is. So really not that much time. It's really just enough time for me to go home, get through the holidays, repack my bags, and we're back out. And it's Australia, straight Australia into Europe with where support for Cradle of Filth through that. And then we're back to the States on another US run. So next year is just busy, busy, busy. We got to record a new album next year in between all the touring. So next year we'll probably see us busy, probably 10 months out of the 12. So yeah, that's what's going on. As I explain that, I get more tired as I say that. I'm like, I mean, we're in the middle of a 38 date tour. We just finished six in a row, and this is show 23, I believe, of 38. So Um, I love it. I love it. I just need a break here and then. So today is my off day. So as soon as I'm done talking with you, I'm going to use this bed over here
Nice.
and rest these eyes behind these goggles.
Awesome. All right, mate. I'll let you get to it. Thank you very much for your time today, mate. And yeah, all the best for next year.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much.
No worries. Have a great day.